Hello everyone, hello. Last week we had a bit of a storm and we just didn't get a chance to make a film. So I did a couple of shorts about the storm and the rescued chickens who are now well settled in at my daughter's house and actually laying eggs, doing really well. But the storm prompted me to think about An Cailleach, or the Hag of Winter as she's also known. And she must be one of the most ancient primeval goddesses of Ireland, way long before the Tuatha De Danann arrived, and she is the creatrix of the landscape. And we see her active in the winter time because she's a goddess of winter. She creates all these storms and the cold weather to encourage people and beings to hibernate. So we can see all the trees here have lost their leaves, and I'm actually out. I'm going to trim these skirts back. Somebody made a suggestion in the comments some months back that you can trim off the lower branches or the skirts and it lets the light get through, and who knows what might pop up. So that'll be interesting to see when I take some of these branches off. But to get back to the Cailleach, she was born a long time ago as an ugly old woman with one eye in the centre of her head, very sharp teeth and long grey hair. And as she ages, she actually becomes younger and younger and younger, and eventually she transforms into the beautiful goddess of spring, or becomes Bridget when we reach Imbolc at the beginning of February. But during winter time, her job is to create winter, to create all the storms, to create the cold weather. So as I said, we will hibernate, we will rest, we will dream. But she also has a bit of a backstory as well, in that she is a creatrix of the landscape. So she loves to throw boulders and mountains around and to carve out rivers and to mark out meadows and to toss up rocks and boulders, and just, it looks like she might be creating havoc, but she's actually laying out the land for us. And she is therefore a sovereign goddess. She's a land goddess. She's a goddess of the earth. In wintertime, when we have storms, we do see storm damage. But afterwards, often, just as I'm going to trim the skirts on the trees so the light gets through to the floor of the woodland here, sometimes the storms can be of benefit because they can move things, they can create space, they can churn things up. And when you're in the middle of that, you can't see the promise in it. You know, it seems to be devastation. The winter storms create havoc, but at the end, when things calm down, we can see a change for the best, perhaps. But it's also just a reminder that we are so small and puny in relation to this powerful goddess who can, like I said, toss mountain ranges around, that we can't see the bigger picture, perhaps. And she doesn't want us to see it. She wants us to go indoors, to hibernate, to rest, to recuperate, and to dream, and plan the future, and plan what we're going to do when the storm is over, and how are we going to bring about new growth. Look down here, I've got some winter hellebores, and you know, you can't ever see them the rest of the year, but they're coming into their own now. They're just about to flower, and this is after the storm that we had. But I just think her story is so important because she starts off old and ugly with one eye in the middle of her head, and over time, over the winter, she becomes this beautiful, fresh young maiden who is full of promise. And I think that's why she wants us to hibernate, so that we can think of something beautiful, something fresh, something new, something with life in it, because she is a goddess of death. As a goddess of death, she reminds us that life is a cycle or a circle. We go from life to death to rebirth, life, death, rebirth. We recycle ourselves, we recycle life because of death. And it's just a wonderful it's a wonderful way, I think, to view the world, to view life, and to not be fearful of anything. So even when a storm comes and it might seem terrifying to some people, I see it as fresh energy coming in and a change and a new way of being afterwards. So I've been waiting for some time to trim the branches. I've been waiting until the tree looks dead. Of course it isn't, it's just in hibernation. But I didn't want to hurt it by cutting the branches when it was, flourishing. So now it's dormant, it's asleep, and hopefully this will just help the light to get in and it to grow a bit taller as well. So that will mean I can also get through to my holly tree, and I'll be able to prune some of that for decorating in the house. And again, when we talk about the Cailleach, she is the bringer of death during winter, and especially, of course, in olden times when people survived winter depending on their harvest and the food stores they'd put by. People would have died more. The youngest, the most vulnerable, the oldest, the most sickly. They may well have died during winter. And so again, that gives new room for life to flourish and continue as there's less stress on the resources. And the holly, of course, reminds us of that evergreen cycle of life, death and rebirth. Because it remains green, it reminds us that we're actually all immortal, because even though we may die, our spirit lives on. And I think for me that is a really positive thing. It's a positive reminder that life goes on regardless. And you know this, don't you, doggies? Because you have no fear. You have no fear about anything except, am I going to get my dinner today? You dafties. So I suppose what we can take away from the story of the Cailleach is that she may appear in the beginning to be destructive, but she's actually working for us. She's a sovereign goddess. She's creating the ground we walk on, and she's giving us a secure footing in life, and that she does remind us that we live in this cycle. And especially now at winter solstice time, in the midwinter, when things might seem to be dark and depressing, they're actually just on that cusp of change towards the springtime. So I'm just going to cut a few more of these branches, and then I'm going to get some holly. I'm so thrilled that the holly is large enough to prune without diminishing it, and bring that into the house as a reminder that everything is okay, everything lives on, and the spring is coming. So I'll see you next week when we have a video for you which is very much about the light. See you later. I hope you enjoyed today's film. If you did, subscribe and hit the bell for notifications. And have a look at the website danusirishherbgarden.com for more information about us and about the herbal medicine courses I offer and the Wise Woman Way training. And if you go to the shop, you can find the books, the weed handbooks and other herbal goodies. And remember, we put a new film out every Sunday. So looking forward to seeing you next week.